Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I wanted to welcome everybody to the Star Wars Players Committee press conference. You know, it's really a pleasure to have everybody here today, and I did want to answer a lot of questions that are really out there right now. The biggest question is, you know, why are we going to be doing another mass errata? Really, the goal of this errata is to want to allow players to play the game and not feel overwhelmed by the power curve that virtual cards as a whole have created. We realize that the PC, you know, ourselves have caused some of the own problems that we've had in this department. What we've done is we've created some massive activation platforms. Look at Dantooine-based operations and their own Dantooine. Look at maybe objectives that start with a captive along with the Jedi's patience. We've also created some very powerful characters such as Mace Windu, Obi-Wan Jedi Knight, that, you know, thematically, yes, they're very powerful, but gameplay-wise, they push the curve way too far. We also allowed some cards with deploy power ratios that were far above the general curve, stuff like Padme, stuff like Star Destroyers with all the helpers, and we just generally contributed to speeding up the game, unfortunately. This was really a natural quickness in the game. Cards like It Is the Future you see, cards like Great Dragon. And what we did is we took some data from some recent major events, Texas Mini Worlds, the Yavin 4 Regionals, the Match Play Championship, and what we found is that more players are coming back to their favorite decks, and they're getting smashed because of these virtual cards. And this is understandable. You know, using the most effective weapons is always the best way to win. But we had a player, Matt Lush, who was a returning player, and he was able to compete with a deck that contained only a few virtual cards. And this is really what we want to see. You know, our first goal is to establish an environment where players are able to play and be competitive without saturating their decks with virtual cards. And this doesn't matter if you're a new player, an old player, a returning player, or a current player. We really want that to be, you know, across the board, players to be able to do that. You know, our second goal is to stop issuing errata a handful at a time. You know, we did a redux in 2006. We did a re-edit at the same time as well. And then we had a recent errata of a couple dozen cards. And this really was to put the environment in a good place and fix things to our current guidelines. However, there were still dozens of cards that broke these guidelines, and they kind of, you know, slipped through our fingers because they were not as harmful to the game at the time. What we do, though, is we realize that this is going to be the last major errata we do. The game just can't continue to have the changes that we're doing unless absolutely necessary. And if we can rework these cards right now, it's going to make the game a lot better in the long run. You know, Reed Smith said, since we're issuing a completely online product, we have a unique position to fix any problems that pop up. You know, companies that issue printed products wish they could do that. And we've decided to take advantage of this opportunity and fix our product. You know, in conclusion, the game itself is in a very good place right now. But in design, new issues are coming up all the time, and we just can't get around them. For example, we can never make a new Leia, we can never make a new Obi-Wan, a new Mace, a new Star Destroyer helper, DBO Rob's helper, just to name a few, because the current cards in existence are so much better already. Cards like that just put our design guys in a box that, because they're just so far over the curve. I'm sure a lot of people remember the original special edition Boba Fett, who could capture characters at +2 to a response to a battle. He was designed directly to deal with Boba Fett Bounty Hunter, and being the only Fett played, as a result, he went too far. Cards that are too far above the power curve put us into a position where we can't effectively design new cards that are interesting, playable, and so what we did is we assigned a team of experts and some other people to identify any card that violated guidelines, needed balancing errata. And we wanted to fix the problems on the cards, but in a way that lets them retain their original intent, of course, and when possible, most of the original text. There was a lot of good discussion, a good bit of argument. In the end, what we have is what we hope will you know, really help us design better cards in the future while keeping the current meta healthy. Thank you for being here today, and may the Force be with us. Take care.